Welcome everybody to Review Please Video Game Edition. I'm your host Jesus, and with me as always is Elle, and today we're going to review Cocoon. Elle, how's it going?
It's good. It's good. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad and very happy to talk about the video game that we played, Cocoon, because I have a lot of things to say about it.
Yeah, I have a bit to say about it too, and I'm excited about talking about it. So let's just jump right in. Cocoon
hmm
currently sits at an 87 on OpenCritic, which is really good. And I'm going to give you the synopsis from Steam because I'm too lazy to come up with my own synopsis for it. So from Jeppe Carlsen, the lead gameplay designer of Limbo and Inside, Cocoon takes you on an adventure across worlds within worlds, master world leaping mechanics to unravel a cosmic mystery. And that's pretty apt for what this is. um,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're just collecting these orbs and you're going from world to world to collect more orbs and take down, I guess bosses. I guess it's just like puzzle solving and
yeah,
boss fights, right? That's all this really is.
yeah.
Um,
hmm
and yeah, this game uh, is incredible. I think it's incredible, at least.
hmm
So yeah, for me, that's my initial top level thoughts is that like I had a blast with this game. I had so much fun. It's very bright and colorful, especially for the lead gameplay designer of Limbo and Inside. When you think of Limbo and Inside, it's these very dreary black and white games, and
Yeah.
this is very the opposite of that, where everything is bright and colorful. There are some like really creepy, dreary worlds that you eventually get
hmm
to. That's like, ooh, this is kind of weird. What's going on here? This is a little stark in color, but it's still like it has a distinct look to it and design to it that's just I absolutely love. I love the design of the little Mothman that you play, I guess, and then just
Yeah.
the designs of each of the bosses that you fight along the way all look so
hmm
cool, and they're so all distinctly different from each other, and the mechanics to conquer them or like beat them are
hmm
also different. And they're a puzzle within themselves. And so I just think I thought like the puzzle mechanics of this game are awesome. I love this how seamlessly everything transitioned from each other when you are taking one orb and you're going into this other world, and you have to carry this other orb to this certain place to unlock the like paths in front of you and stuff. And it's like I enjoyed the puzzle solving aspects to this game, um,
hmm
and I just enjoyed discovering the mystery. And I still don't really know what this game's about at the end of the day. I still don't know what to think of it, but I enjoyed the journey of it. I had a lot of fun. It's a very short game too. It only took me about 3.5 hours, 4 hours to beat at most. So it was a
hmm
fairly short experience that I enjoyed and appreciated. But what about you, El?
So top level thoughts for me. I think this is an amazing game. It's great. It's beautiful to look at. It's what I enjoy a lot about this game is that this is one of those games that doesn't hold your hand at all. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of will show you like, hey, here's a little ball that looks it's like a universe in there. You can jump into it, you can carry it, and it just won't outright sometimes spell out what you're supposed to do, which I like because you're just literally trying to put these pieces together. And at first, it when I looked at it, because you play as this there's not really like a name for for the main character you play as, or like what type of
Mothman.
yeah, moth, some sort of moth-looking creature that looks so cool, especially when the you have the moments where you can do little jumps and it'll glide
Mhm.
towards the screen and fly to other little areas,
Yeah.
and it's really cool. One of the things that I enjoyed a lot about this game that I think is very beautiful is the boss fights.
Oh
Just the
yeah.
way that they kind of move, it kind of makes me think of like it's some kind of like alien race, or a world within a world where it's like you're playing as this moth person trying to free, these
Mm.
ancestrals that I think they were called moon
Yeah.
ancestrals or something.
Yeah. So
And
that you're trying to release them from like their prisons or something like that. So
exactly, and it looks so cool and it's like so beautiful. Like I think that which I know we'll get more into this, but I think that even though the very last boss that you kind of play in segments where you're like trying to send some sort of like little bomb towards them,
yeah.
even though it wasn't as hard, I think that it was beautiful. Just the kind of like in the aspect of it, like the view of it, like
Hmm.
it's so huge that you're just like this little thing that's just beating them up, but it's so cinematic and like cool looking. Um, I'll say that figuring out all the puzzles and just like going from world to world, trying to figure out the little things that you had to do just to kind of like get to the next part were so interesting to me. I love
Yeah.
this game a lot, and it's so interesting since I beat it. Like you said, it was a short game. I think it was the perfect amount of length
Yeah.
for this game. Um, the only thing that which we'll get into here in a minute that I would say is that you don't know what's happening. You're just kind of like
Yeah.
filling in the empty places with what you think is happening, which
Yeah.
I think is cool in a way. But
I mean, that's
um,
kind of part of the
yeah.
course with like Limbo and Inside too, though. Like, I mean, this is
True,
like
yeah,
the best comparison that you can really do with Limbo and Inside with Cocoon. Like, Inside definitely, like, I couldn't tell you what
yeah,
the hell happened in Inside. You got that big blob thing at the end of Inside. That's all I.
yeah,
I just remember you go through this really like dystopian weird world, and then you become a big blob.
yeah,
I don't know what that means.
exactly.
I'm too dumb to figure that out. So I'm sure there's like
No,
videos out
exactly.
there that will break this down. I'm sure there's videos for Cocoon already out there where someone's breaking it down, telling you the exact meaning and stuff. And I'm like, I just like the pretty colors. So
Exactly, exactly. So, yeah, I'm the same way, and it's interesting. It's just like, man, I love what they do in creating these worlds where it's
yeah.
with every game that they've created, like Limbo and Inside, they
Well,
give you
I
kind
mean,
of
this
just
is
like,
it's a new company, Geometric
oh,
Interactive.
sorry,
It's
Nick.
just the lead designer from Limbo
Oh,
and
okay.
Inside. So lead
So,
gameplay designer. So
yeah, and what I like that they do here is just like they give you just enough of something that it's very kind of like vague, like you said, and
yeah,
others might be like, no, I want to be told what the story is, or to invest in it, because which I'm pretty sure maybe we'll get into this because we spoke about this on on Respawn Please podcast where we asked the question of does a narrative matter? Like
hmm
crystal clear, narrative, is that important to you? Which this would beg the question that because I know there are certain games that don't necessarily have a great narrative that we didn't enjoy, but this one, the narrative isn't as clear, but it still is an amazing game. Is it
yeah,
gameplay or narrative that is more
yeah,
important? So it's very interesting. But
yeah.
enough being said, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I think like for me, like the reason why Cocoon and like Limbo and Inside and games like this resonate with me is because of how simple the gameplay is. You press
Yeah.
one button and you go in one direction or another direction, and that's how you solve these puzzles. So like you're just moving the character around, and then occasionally you
Mhm.
press A, right? If you're playing on controller.
Mhm.
I mean, I played the whole game on controller, so um,
Mm.
like, yeah. So like the gameplay is simple, so like that, and that's why I think it resonates with me. Whereas games like Elden Ring, that I continue to argue to this day, that doesn't necessarily have a story. Again, the world's interesting, but it has such complex gameplay that it ruins the
Yeah.
fun for me. Whereas this is
Yeah, I get that.
simple enough that like even though I don't really know what's going on, I'm still able to enjoy what the game is giving me because of how
Yeah.
simple the world is. How or not how simple the world is, but how simple the gameplay is. Because it's just moving around, pressing A, and making sure okay, the red ball reveals red orb ball reveals the pathways. The green orb,
Mhm.
um, well, the green orb like made things turn into mist and stuff, and then like would
Yeah.
re-solidify and like bring you up a different level
Yeah.
and stuff.
Mhm.
So like just knowing what the balls do and stuff and how they work together and how you need to solve the puzzles and stuff. Like to me,
Mhm.
that's just simple gameplay. I'm not trying to, oh, I gotta beat this boss and like
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
even though like the
exactly.
boss fights, none of the boss fights were hard.
Exactly, yeah.
I failed like maybe once or twice on a couple of them, but for the most part,
Yeah.
like once I was like, oh, I just gotta avoid this, wait for them to
Mhm.
go hover in this one spot, and then I throw the ball at them or whatever it is, and then they die. And there's like three different versions of them and stuff. So like none of the
Mhm.
boss fights are ever hard. So,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing for me too is like just simple gameplay, an interesting, intriguing world that's bright and colorful, and just enough mystery and intrigue with this world because there are like hidden secrets to find, like
Yeah.
the little I want to call them almost mosaics. They're like little etchings on the wall and stuff. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Um,
Mhm.
I like how I point to my wall. Like, it's right here. You can see them right here. We are in the Cocoon world. But like, I like actively looked at a guide and stuff to find them all because I'm lazy. But like, they give you like, you know, more information about the world that I appreciated and stuff. So like, yeah, just
Yeah.
that's why this game resonates with me so much in comparison to things like um Elden Ring or even Zelda to an extent, where Zelda, I feel like, for me, Zelda, not Breath of the Wild. I mean, I guess Breath of the Wild, but like, what's the one that just came out?
Tears of the
Tears of the
Kingdom?
Kingdom.
Tears of
Jesus, it's nominated for Game of the Year. And I can't even remember. That tells you. That should tell you right now who I'm not voting for Game of the Year. Uh, but yeah, like even to some extent, like with that, like whereas Zelda and Elden Ring both are very complicated in their gameplay, it's like it's just refreshing to have something so simple. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Where you're
mhm.
not really having to do too much, you know, thinking. I guess the puzzles are worth thinking about, but even the puzzles aren't hard.
Yeah,
So it's like you're just
yeah.
on a very interesting journey for me, at least.
Oh, yeah. It's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool, but, yeah, because this game is just like I said, it's so beautiful. It's funny because my partner, she would watch me play it sometimes, and she was just enamored and, like, captivated by the way it looked, and she thought it was so beautiful. Because there were certain, um, like, of the bosses or just,
Hmm.
like yeah, I guess it'd be bosses or even, like, the main character that you play as, that man, it's like when you're seeing something, that you've never seen before for the first time as far as,
Hmm.
like, the shape that they take, the forms that, your character takes or that the bosses take, and
Yeah,
you're like, "What is this?" Very alien, but it looks so beautiful to look at,
yeah,
and, I thought it was so cool, like, because like you said, the boss fights weren't very difficult. I think I might have failed maybe, like, once or twice, on some of them, but it's very simple to kinda like, oh, there's a certain, kind of cycle that they go through as far
yeah,
as the attacks that they do, things that they
yeah,
do, and, it was a lot of fun for me.
yeah. And those like those cycles too are like very obvious. You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
having to like you're not. It's not like an Elden Ring. You blink once and you miss something, and then you're like, crap. This is like,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
they give you like 10 seconds to like stare at this. They're like, hey, look at us. This is the pattern we're doing. You have to, this is what we are going to move over here. Definitely don't stand over there because that's where we're going. Okay, we're going to sit down now and smash into the
Exactly.
ground. Like, it's like very obvious. Like, it's obvious for dum-dums like me that are like, yeah, I need this spelled out for me so I know exactly when I need to move and stuff. Uh,
Uh-huh.
it's because of my old age now. I'm
That's so funny.
too old for things. But yeah, um, so what are so I'm curious about what are some of your
Mhm.
hiccups because you mentioned that there's a couple things as you were talking
Yeah.
that
Well,
specific things. So I'm curious.
yeah, so I think that the hiccups, and this is more one of the main ones is a personal one, which we've kind of touched on a little bit at the beginning that I spoke about. It's like this this video game and then the like world building is like beautiful. There's a part of me that kind of goes back and forth with like the story aspect of it because
Hmm.
you're kind of essentially just kind of walking in the dark in a way where
Yeah,
you're like you're playing as this thing and you're freeing all the things. Who knows? You could actually be playing somebody who's rebelling against a good thing, and then you're destroying all these big, like
like
crazy
Eco.
ancestral.
Do you remember the game
Yeah,
Eco? That's like that's
exactly,
what happens in Eco. You're like killing the gods or whatever of the world of that world, right?
exactly.
To
Yeah,
save your
and
sister
so
or something like that. Anyways,
exactly, and so yeah, that's it. It kind of leaves it open for interpretation, which is cool.
yeah,
But a part of me sometimes goes, man, I kind of wish I knew like more about this world. It makes me want to know more about it. Like I want to know, what is this is there a name for my main character, or am I a certain type of alien species or like am I just kind of like a atom within an atom or something
within
and we're
that,
just
yeah,
going between these it's cool, but I'll say this that it's not a very big hiccup. It's just like kind of like, oh man, like they did such a good job with leaving it very open to interpretation that sometimes you kind of want to pinpoint it down, but you really can't do that.
yeah,
Because I one of the things that I thought was cool and I wanted to learn more about, and maybe there's a YouTube video and people who are watching this are like, you need to go look up on YouTube. But like the moon ancestors,
yeah.
when you free them, I want to know like how did they get there? Like, how did that happen? Was there like some
Yeah.
big battle or like a big war?
Yeah, like, what
Um,
was the technology that, like, encased them? Because like, there's a lot of technology, like, there's a lot of just tech around from, like, things getting powered, some of
yeah,
it's biotechnology too, like, using, some of the stuff you have to use, like, biotech stuff, like,
yeah,
little
mhm.
tentacle thingies, like, going away and stuff, and then other worlds have, like, blocks of technology that would be more obvious that, "Oh, that's tech of some kind, that's advanced tech." So it's like, what is that tech that encompasses them and stuff? So yeah,
Exactly. And so that's the thing that I think is so cool, and it's I think it's fine for like the first few hours or like the hour or two that you're playing, you're like, "Oh, this is so cool." But then I think towards the end I was like, "Man, I wish there would have been something like some sort of
yeah.
something to give me more info just to kind of fill in everything." And then even if it was just something as simple as they had, here's the backstory online, you can read it. This is vaguely what it's about, and I'd be like, "Whoa, so cool." You
would
know, exactly.
would a narrator have helped, like someone like the Cocoon, just like, I was born, I must kill everything, and then you're like, oh
That'd be
shit,
hilarious. Whoa, we're actually the bad guy here. No,
we must
it
at the very end he pulls a what is it? I can't remember like what movie or game or whatever. Like at the very end, oh, it's like Saints Row, right, where the character talks at the end
oh,
of Saints
yeah.
Row, and everybody's like, what the fuck? Like, it'll be like that. It was like, what? Cocoon? The
Huh?
Hawkman just talked? What? You hear
Exactly.
from the
He's like
distance, what'd you just say? It's like,
exactly. But I'll
Dad, you
say
hear
that
that
I
guy
think
talk? No.
I'll say besides that, everything else was cool. A part of me thinks that it would be because even though it was a short game, I do think it was like a nice it was good for what it was doing. It'd be cool if they plan to do like a sequel, which I probably doubt just because I think that
Yeah.
then they'd have to deep dive more and give you more kind of like story or something. And that
Yeah.
might ruin the specialness of it, uniqueness of it. And
Mhm.
but man, it's just like I'm kind of like in the middle of like it'd be cool to know more. It'd be cool if, I knew some sort of history, but then a part of me is like, well, maybe it's better that you don't know anything
Yeah.
and it's like you just enjoy it more overall and you're just like, well, it's more fun to theorize than it is to actually know, you know?
Yeah. I agree for the most part. Like, yeah, it's I for me, I'm like at the end of the day, once I beat it like almost a month ago now. Um,
Mhm,
so and I will say this, I beat it almost a month ago, and this isn't me trying to put this game down in any way, shape, or form, but like after I
mhm.
beat it, I haven't really thought about it until I remembered. I was like, oh yeah, we haven't done this yet. I gotta text L and let L, hey,
Yeah,
hey, we need to record this. We still haven't done it yet. We've been talking about doing this forever. And I feel like we've talked about it more than we've actually played it at this point.
yeah, exactly.
And I'm just like, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Was like, I enjoyed my time with it. I thought it was incredible, but I'm also not thinking about it anymore. It's like at the back of my mind.
Yeah,
Like I'm not too worried about it. I honestly couldn't tell you too much about what the story was. I can
yeah,
tell you that I thought the game was beautiful and I
mhm,
enjoyed the puzzles and stuff, but I couldn't point to a specific puzzle in the game that I was like, "Oh, this is just an ingenious, incredible experience here."
yeah,
But like, it's more of a for me. This Cocoon is just a visual feast.
yeah,
Like I just think it looks beautiful. I know we reviewed Sea of Stars, and like I
mhm.
prefer the visual look of Cocoon over Sea of Stars, which I know some people would
Yeah, I
probably
could
go
see
like,
that.
"Oh, Sea of Stars is beautiful." It's good for what it is, but I think Cocoon just visually has more interesting things going on throughout the world and in the background than Sea of Stars does. But yeah,
Yeah,
so like for me, really, this is like just an art piece. This is an art piece that
yeah,
I appreciate, and I'm glad it exists. And I think
mhm,
that's also kind of how I felt about Inside and Limbo too. Like these are art pieces that they're beautiful. They're just striking in what they do. But
yeah,
I don't really think about Inside or Limbo that much. Maybe Limbo
true.
more than Inside, but because I can remember more about Inside than anything else. But like,
Mhm.
um, with that said, I don't think Cocoon is as good as Limbo or Inside. But That's just
Mm,
me.
yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if you
I
feel
could
that,
see
but
that.
like I
Man, it's
inside is
like
still like
mm,
inside I think is just still an incredible experience even now. Sure, I don't think about it that much, but like when I do think about inside, it's like, oof, I loved the 2-3 hours that I played of that game to beat it and stuff. Like I've played that multiple times over the years since it's come out in
yeah.
2017, 2016, somewhere around there. Maybe before, actually, it might have been
Mhm.
2015. I don't know.
Yeah. I think,
But
man, when comparing this game to Limbo and Inside, because yeah, the only I'd say that I do remember each of these games. I kind of remember them for specific things.
mhm.
Whereas like when I think of Limbo, I think of those big spiders. You know, those
Oh
big
yeah,
spiders in
the
there.
spiders
That's
going in and out of the light. That like just
yeah,
like the way it looked and like because it was a black
exactly.
light, but like you would see the spiders, the red eyes of the spider, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
they had red eyes, right? Mine are
Yeah,
making.
they had, like, red eyes that would come in. I think they had red eyes, and then just seeing their legs crawl, and I was like, "Oh." But I remember Limbo for that, and then the saws, of course, and then
Uh,
Inside, I remember
they
the
didn't have
big
red eyes
blobby
or
thing.
anything. We made that up. I'm
Oh,
imagining. I'm thinking of
okay.
probably a different game, but
And then, like, for Inside, I remember
I know
just
what I'm
those
thinking about. Hmm.
zombie-like figures or people or whatever, and just, like, them following, you being able to control them, and then just
Yeah,
trying to like, it was like a cool mystery of like, what is this dystopian world,
yeah.
that's going on in here? And then, of course, for here, I remember just for the aliens. I think each of these games has a little certain thing that they're
Aspect.
like I said
Yeah,
earlier, yeah, a little
yeah,
aspect where they're good with just like being vague enough where you kind of like, oh, this is pretty cool. Makes me think of like the Twilight Zone or excuse me,
hmm,
Twilight Zone or something.
yeah,
Excuse me. But yeah, but it's pretty cool. But I'd say that Inside, I think, is also just as cool.
yeah.
For the mystery aspect of it.
Hmm.
Limbo's okay. I think it was like a good starter. But
Yeah.
Inside and Cocoon, I kind of feel like I like Cocoon more a little bit just
Oh,
because
really?
it feels more sci-fi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels a little bit more sci-fi
Um.
than Inside does.
So the what I was thinking was spider things. Another game similar to Cocoon came out this year,
Mhm.
Planet of Lana. I've been trying to get
Mm.
you to play that forever, and you still haven't played it, you son of a bitch. This was before we started doing review, please, video game
It
edition
is
though.
true.
But they have like little spider things that have like red eyes and stuff in there. Um, but Planet of Lana like is a good comparison to Cocoon. They're both very simple in
Mm.
gameplay. Um,
Mhm.
out of those two, I prefer Planet of Lana. But Planet of Lana has like one of the best
Mm.
soundtracks in a video game of this year,
Oh,
in my
okay.
opinion. Like the soundtrack for Planet of Lana is just incredible, and I love the
Nice.
sound design. Speaking of sound designs, Cocoon has a really good sound design as well. Just
Oh,
like the
yeah.
how distinct some of the world sound and stuff. Music wise, I couldn't tell you really anything about the music, but sound design wise, I thought Cocoon did a really good job with just the sound and how it's used and
Mhm.
making each kind of world distinct from one another because each one has their own like only has its own visual design, but there's like a distinct sound design to each of those worlds too. So
Yeah. I'll say this, the sound design I think is really good in Cocoon. The only confusing thing for me that I had trouble with sometimes is when trying to figure out if I was doing the right thing, every now and then the music would come up and
yeah,
I'm like, "Oh, am I doing the right thing?" And then
and
all of
then
a
it
sudden it
was
would go
like
back
nothing.
down.
Yeah, it's like the musical swells in Cocoon were confusing as hell, which is just like
Yeah.
whatever. It's like
Yeah, for for a second I was just like, "Oh, they're telling me I'm doing the right thing." And then
yeah,
I'd continue and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not doing the right thing." This is just like a random musical cue or something.
yeah. So it's just it's what it is, you know. But yeah, so yeah, man, it's like so hard to talk about Cocoon because like I don't really because I didn't understand it. I don't know what to say anymore beyond that. I thought it was beautiful to look at. So uh,
Yeah.
I'm I'm done with where I'm at. El, do you have any last
Okay.
things to say?
Yeah. I'll say this, that if you're looking for a game where you don't know what's going on, you don't know the name of the main character, but it's a beautiful world, and you like to solve puzzles, I think this is a really good game. Even though by the end of it, you're probably gonna be like, I don't know what journey I just went on. I don't know
It's
if
a
I was the good
magical
guy or the
journey,
bad
though,
guy.
man.
Very true. I will say this, that what it made me think of, the little worlds, the little marbles, was
Mhm.
at the end of Men in Black when like they have all the
The gala
universes.
yeah, the gala
Yeah, the
on
galaxies and stuff.
it was just the universe on the cat collar, right?
Yeah, the universe on the
What's the
cat collar made me think of that.
what's the name of that
Orion,
cat? Orion? Yeah, maybe.
Orion, because it was Orion's belt, if I remember correctly.
That's right. That's right. It's not
And
as cute. Sorry, that cat's not as cute as Goose, from
yeah.
the Marvels. Anyways,
Oh
the
yeah.
one that scratches Samuel L. Jackson's eye. Anyways,
Yeah, yeah. And I think that this game, it is fun, and I think, to be honest, it's the perfect amount of time to start to finish for this
hmm
type of game.
I
Just
agree.
because I feel like if it had been another hour or two, I feel like I'd been like, I'm not really you're not really giving me motivation for it, but
Yeah,
like I don't really want to finish it. But I think that just the for how long the story is, I think it's the perfect amount of time. They were able to pick it perfectly. Even if you're a completionist and you want to, save all the ancestrals, moon ancestors, or
yeah. Get all the secret
find the
little
little.
wall things.
I think exactly. I think that's just like another extra hour or two, but you don't
Yeah,
have to do that.
yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I think that's it for me. I think this is a really good game, and it's interesting that I didn't really see anybody really talk about it.
Yeah. I would agree. Like this, I think this game is perfect length. I definitely agree. Like if it would have stayed like another hour, I think I would have been like, okay, let's just can we stop now? Like, why are we still doing this? Because yeah, because I will say like towards the end, I was starting to feel that where I was like, I just want to get this done. But I've been noticing for me, like maybe I'm just getting old, but like I'm just like I've
Mm,
been several of the games that I've been playing lately,
mhm.
I'm just like, can I just get done with this? Like games that I'm enjoying the hell out of, I'm just like, I just want to be done with this. Can we just move on?
Mm.
Like there's an example of this in a game that we talked about before the stream started, before we started recording this, where I
Oh,
where
yeah.
I felt that, where I was just like, okay, I want to just get to this, and I want to see what's going to happen next, and you're not letting me see what happens next. But anyways,
Exactly.
I don't need to ramble about that because that's not related to Cocoon. So sorry. But anyways, so, here on Respawn, please, review, please, video game edition, re-rank the games that we've played. Right now, all of our lists are unified, so I don't have to say these are individual lists or anything like that. So
Mhm.
we'll just do our overall list, and L's list and my list are both the same as well as the overall list. So at number one, we have Sea of Stars, which L, what did you give it? On a
I gave it
you gave it a
on a
one
scale
out
of
of
1 to
you
10?
gave it a 1 out of 5, right?
Oh, yeah, I think I
Oh, you
gave it
did?
a
Yes.
4.
You
Oh,
gave it a 4 out of 5.
yeah, 4 I think I gave it a 4, or if not a 4.5 out of 5, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
But anyways, overall number one right now is Sea of Stars. Number two is Arcade Paradise, and number three is Amnesia: The Bunker. I
Oh.
hate that game so much. Like, ugh, I can't wait for the day that I never have to say that name again.
So
I
funny.
should be so negative, but the game is fine. I'm sure
Yeah,
someone out
it's
there
fine.
likes it. I'm sorry if you like it.
Oh, I've seen a lot of people who love it. It's funny enough, I've seen a lot of people online, they're like, "This game's amazing," and I'm like, "Wow, okay."
Wow. Okay. Cool. So L, where are you gonna put Cocoon on your list? Again, it's the same as the
So,
overall list. So
yeah, so for me, Cocoon, I had a blast with it. When comparing it to the games on this list of the games that we played, it's pretty high up there. It
I mean,
almost
out of
I see
four
what you just
games.
said. Yeah, true. But yeah, no, definitely for me, Cocoon goes at number 2,
Mhm.
just because I think it's way better for me personally than
Yeah.
Amnesia and Arcade Paradise. Yeah, yeah, number 2.
Nice.
What
Nice.
about you? You're like it's going at the bottom. No.
It is number -700. No. Ah, man, I've been like going back and forth with this.
Mhm,
Everything about Cocoon I like more than Sea of Stars.
mhm,
I was not hot on Sea of Stars
mhm,
at all. Like I just don't have the nostalgia. But the gameplay itself of like Sea of Stars, the narrative of Sea of Stars is honestly better than the gameplay
mm,
and narrative of Cocoon, in
yeah,
my opinion. But Cocoon
mhm.
looks so much better, in my opinion, visually. So
Cooler.
it's like
Yeah, I could see
so
that.
hard for me to decide. do I put it in front? That's the thing. I don't know. We're
Uh oh.
gonna because like if any given day, I could probably make an argument for either one being my
Of
number
course.
one right now. Um,
Yeah.
any given day. So, but I gotta cement it forever, right? This is like agonizing for me.
Oh.
It's
Uh-oh. Let's see. Suspense is killing me. Uh-oh.
going at
Uh-oh.
number two for me.
Wow.
I think like if I take my feelings out of the way, like if I just take
Yeah.
my feelings out of this, Sea of Stars is the better game. Like just hard
Yeah.
stop, Sea of Stars is the better game. If I kept my feelings with this, then yeah, Cocoon would be in front of it. But I'm gonna divorce myself of these feelings because Sea of Stars
Nice.
is
Okay.
fundamentally the better game than Cocoon. I just think
Yeah.
Cocoon for me was the better experience for me as a gamer. So just keep
Yeah.
that in mind with this. Like, yeah, does that make sense?
I'll s No, that makes sense, and I'll say this lastly that, I kinda had a difficult decision with it too at first just because what I liked about Cocoon is Cocoon does a very good job, where there are movies like this, there are, books like this,
Mhm.
and there are other games as well that do this. They're very good at the mystery
Yeah,
behind it of, like they're like, it's like trying to look over a ledge you can barely see over, and you're like, "What's that over there?" And it's like, "Oh, we're not gonna tell you. It's just a mystery." And you're like,
yeah.
"But I
I
want
need
to
to
know."
know.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like,
Tell
I
me
want to
what's
know what is
happening.
happening.
Yeah,
Exactly. For me, it scratches that itch, and it's really good at that. And I think Cocoon also too, just the world of it is beautiful. But yeah, fundamentally, like you said, Sea Stars I think is the better game. And
yeah,
yeah, but Cocoon, very good job, very good game.
yeah. Cocoon, brilliant game. They're both Sea of Stars and Cocoon are both nominated for Indie Game of the Year. Um,
Nice.
so at the Game Awards, if anybody pays attention to that. But yeah, so our current list now, as it stands, is number 1, Sea of Stars. Number 2, Cocoon. Number 3, Arcade Paradise, and number 4, Amnesia: The Bunker. We will
Nice.
be back with a Starfield review. 2 months late, 3 months late, 3 months late. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll be back with our thoughts on Starfield, and then at the end of December, we will have a Lies of P review as well. So that's also 3 months late. But
Hey, it's just
hey,
been a great year for gaming.
yeah, it's been an incredible year for gaming, and like we have a banger of a game coming out on Friday this week. So Super Mario RPG. It's coming out.
Wow, and I
Yeah.
do wanna play that. Oh, so
Oh
many
God,
games.
looks so good. But yeah, and then we got Avatar, Frontier Pandora, whatever the game is called, Frontier Pandora. I get it wrong every time.
Yeah,
Avatar,
Pandora's Frontier,
uh,
something.
Cats Play Ball is the name of the game. Avatar, Cats Play Ball is the name of the game.
Avatar
I'm sure there are people out there that are incredibly excited because they love Avatar. And like it looks
Yeah,
fine too. Like it looks like a Assassin's Creed Far Cry game, but with
yeah,
Avatar, So
with blue people.
yeah, woo. But yeah, thank you all
Nice.
so much for joining us. Be on the lookout for our Starfield. It'll be coming out early in December, right? Is that what we decided? I
Yeah,
can't
early
remember.
December.
Yeah, it'll be coming
Yeah,
out
early
early December,
December.
and Lies of P will be at the end of December before the new year hits. So be on the
Nice.
lookout for that. L, wind us down for everything else.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in. You can, like I said, the next episode will be about Starfield. So if you've been playing, please join us. Let us know your thoughts in the video. Which subscribe to the YouTube at Respawn Please podcast on YouTube. Just type it in there, it'll pop up. Make sure to subscribe. Follow us on social media at Respawn Please podcast on Instagram and TikTok. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Goodbye.